What's up, YouTube? Today's video I'm gonna be showing you guys how to install the MIM-TAC Drastic performance trigger. And this trigger here, man, is supposed to be a drop-in trigger. You know, it's supposed to be simple and easy. They say it's supposed to make the your shooting reset time crazy. But yeah, it comes with everything that you need, all the installments, all the instructions and everything. So yeah, we're gonna see how this go. All right, so first thing first, we gotta separate the upper from the lower. But before you be able to do that, it's two pins that's holding it. So the first pin is located in the front, and then the second pin is located in the back by the fire and the safety. So let me go ahead and take these off real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so now what we got to do now is separate the grip from the lower. So normally either it's a flathead screwdriver or it's an Allen key. Mine was an Allen key, a number 5. Hey, one important thing too, when you take off this grip from the lower, make sure you don't bend or damage the spring. It's a real important piece because it's what keep friction on the safety and the fire lever. So you gotta make sure you don't lose that piece right there. I'm gonna speed the video up a little bit so you guys can go ahead and see what the spring and what's under this grip.
Wow.
So once you get that screw off from the grip, you can pull off the grip and see the spring I'm talking about. So that little spring right here, and that's a real important piece right there. Make sure you put that aside. And then it's a float that's right next to the spring. So the spring is inside the grip, and then the float is right on the side of the grip, but it's actually on the gun. You'll see in a minute it dropped out because I was trying to find it because I didn't know where it was at first. So it dropped out. And guys, I'm not even gonna sit here and cap like I even know what that little thing right there do. You see, I'm playing with it, trying to see what it is, and I just read about it in the manual, but I really don't know what that do. So if you guys know what that little float piece right there does on the side of the grip on the gun lower, leave a comment and let your boy know what that is, cause I have no freaking clue at all. I was lost. So now you see it keep coming out, but so now what we finna do, I'm finna show you guys how to access the trigger. But before we do that, once again, we gotta access these pins. And I tried to take the safety out first, but it wouldn't let me. So I decided to try to pop out the trigger pin. And there's two trigger pins on your AR. Your first pin is gonna release your hammer components, and then the second pin is gonna release the actually trigger component. As soon as I popped the hammer component out, it just literally just sprung right in my hand. Like the whole thing just popped. And the same bow, as you can see. Same thing as the trigger. Once I finally got the trigger and all the pieces and the elements out, it just popped right on out too. So as you can see, once you get the hammer out, your safety, it'll just fall right on out. And then you can proceed taking out your trigger, and then you can see that piece pop right in my hand because it's a spring on there. So make sure you have everything, a neat area where you can see all your tools. But luckily the trigger that I'm installing is a drop-in trigger, so I really don't need none of the old OME parts. So now that your AR lower is completed, gutted, now you want to make sure you have all your pieces and your parts together. So it's time to put them back. So my spring and the float was my most important part, so I put them together. And then the pins, I didn't know if I was going to need them again, so I set them next to my safety. I knew I'm going to need that. So now it's time to install the trigger. And like I say, I'm doing a drop-in trigger, so this should be a breeze. So Let's see. Alright guys, so what I have here is the MIM-TAC Drastic Performance Trigger from performancetrigger.com. And this the packaging is real simple, and everything, like I say, for the most part of the unboxing, it was real dummy proof and straightforward. So what you see is what you get, you know. So this is the drop-in MIM-TAC Performance Trigger. And let's see, so the instructions, I was trying to look at the instructions, and it wasn't really nothing. I thought it was a couple pages. That's how simple this is. So I think I'm gonna try to make the drop-in triggers my go-to trigger. This look like it's gonna be real simple and easy. So let's get to it. So alright, so let's go ahead and do the common thing and drop this baby on in. So make sure the MIM-TAC sign is facing towards you when you installing the trigger, because that's the right side it's supposed to be on. So once you get your trigger in and everything, it says 2 screws on the top piece in case your lower is a little too big and it leaves a lot of wiggle room. So luckily mine didn't have that much wiggle room when I installed it. So, but now that I'm doing the voiceover, I can see now that it's in the cock position. But I was wondering like what the heck was going on, because the screw wouldn't go right, but it was because it was in the cock position. So now what we're finna do is put back on the fire and the safe lever. And if it don't go, if the safety don't go, you might have to just scoop back your trigger just a tad bit, especially if you're doing a drop in. Scoop back your trigger just a tad bit, and it'll literally just flow in like butter, as you see. So once you get that in, you don't no longer have to use the OME pins, because MIM-TAC, well, Performance Trigger, they sent their own pins that go in there. So let me get them and then we'll start installing them. Alright, so when you install them pins, the new pins, might gotta put you just a little bit of little butt behind that. And then make sure you have the holes lined up too. That's what she said. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be missing the holes. You wanted to just go in real smooth, like that right there. So and then the pins too, they're a little different. They come with a hex screw, a hex key to tighten the pins up, and that's what's gonna tighten down your trigger too. And the instructions say if you have any slack in your trigger after you tighten the hex keys and bolt down the trigger to the lower, if you have any slack in the trigger or any play, then it's 2 hex key screws that's located on top of the trigger that you can tighten up, that will fasten and take the play out of it. So yeah, you see right there, I'm trying to put that the hex screw on there. Gotta put a little butt on it just to take a little wiggle of the trigger, and then it'll go right on in there. That's it. Just got to do a little wiggle. That's it. So now I'm finna fasten the screws on here and get it all tightened up. We're back. Alright guys, so as you can see right now, I have a screw with the hex key that was provided from the MIM-TAC trigger, and I have my left hand behind the screw while my right hand is screwing it. And I'm not screwing with a lot of pressure. I'm screwing, just enough to bring it tight until it lock. And if you think that it's going to vibrate over time, or if you use your gun extreme wild, or however you use your gun, if you feel like them screws going to come out, get you some little anti-lock, and it'll, once you put that on there, that should make you feel a little better about the screws, So yeah, and make sure that you don't super tight in these screws, you know, because I don't want you to script them out, and I was trying to make sure I didn't script them out either. And I'm gonna give you a closer look, and so you guys can see, you know, like the process of me, you know, screwing, I guess. So yeah. So as you can see, you know, I ain't using too much pressure. Dang, my hands ashy. But you see right there, it was tight. I ain't gonna use it too much tight. That was tight right there, and then I'm gonna call it a day. And then, like I say, that's me checking to see my slack. And then it was like I say, the trigger came in a cock position, so I had to make sure and take it out of the cock position and put it in the neutral position. So now everything's installed, the trigger's installed, the pins installed, my safety's installed, and I have no play inside of my trigger. So I'm gonna get my spring and my float, and now I'm finna proceed to install my grip. And also too, new video coming up. I ordered a new grip and a new stock. It's on the way before I get my new Hollow Sun 10.5C with the 3-time magnifier. Get that combo deal for my site. So now I'm checking to see if we got some slack in there, and it's pretty sturdy. That's why I didn't go and proceed to screw the 2 hex screws at the top, because it literally was doing no movement. So figured I was good. So now it's time to go ahead and install that grip. Alrighty, so what all we have left to do now is install the spring with the safety puller or safety float with the 2 pins at the top. And the most important thing I want to say, guys, is please, when you install this grip, do not put too much force on it and bend or damage the spring, because that's just gonna make your installment time a lot longer if you gotta go replace that spring or lose it or whatnot. And now I'm rewatching the video. I think that float piece is the tensioner for the spring, because the spring go on top of the float piece, and I think that's what keeps the tension on your safety. So when you put it on safe, it stay on safe. When you put it on, all that good stuff, I think that's what keeps the tension on there. Just my guess. I don't know. But guys, if you know the correct reason for that right there, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know. But this part is a little tricky right here, so be careful and make sure you don't bend that spring. So how I had to do it was use one hand to hold down the spring and use the other hand to access the screw so I wouldn't bend it or damage the spring. So yep, so like I said, one hand gonna hold down the grip and the other hand is gonna have the tool that the screw takes to fasten it down to the grip. So yep. Alright, so now what we need to do now is just connect the lower back to the upper, and then we'll go start running our test fires. And how you do that is you want to put the gun back together, cock the gun back, put the gun on safe, and see if you can fire. If you can't fire, then that's the first check. Then, since the gun is already cocked back, you want to pull the trigger, but keep your hand pulled on the trigger. Then you want to recock the gun and then release your hand from the trigger. If you hear a click, then that means you have successfully installed the trigger. I'm sorry about the end of the video though, guys. My camera went dead, so yeah. But this video is sponsored by the Stockhouse Trading Academy partnership with Reaping by Nello. Thank you guys for watching.